Aston Martin has given the Vantage a refresh, not a reinvention, mind you, just enough of a makeover to make sure it still turns heads without falling into that Botox trap. If anything, it looks sharper now, less Mazda Miata, more Aston Martin. It's more like Daniel Craig from Skyfall instead of Pierce Brosnan from Die Another Day. Visually, it's still the angry little wedge from Warwickshire, but now it's broader across the chest, has an angrier face, the stance is wider, and the new headlights look like they've seen some things. There's a 911 parked quietly in the corner of a party. The Vantage walks in, makes eye contact, raises an eyebrow. You know which one you'll follow outside. In this ion blue with smoked taillights, blacked out details and 21-inch forged wheels, it's no longer a pretty Aston. It looks menacing like its ancestors, and that old school feeling is a very good feeling. But the face is just half the story. Under that long nose is a thunderous 4-litre bi-turbo V8. It's got a nice old school switch to it. It comes to life like a typical V8. It's still sourced from AMG, still hand-built, this one in UK though, and it's tuned to put out over 650 PS of power and 800 Newton meters of torque. That's proper supercar territory, and all that power and torque is fed to the rear wheels via a rear-mounted 8-speed ZF Auto with shorter gear ratios to keep things angry. And angry it definitely sounds. This bi-turbo V8 sits in a hot V configuration, which means the turbos are nestled between the cylinder banks. This makes the engine more compact, sharper to spool, and louder in personality. And the exhaust note doesn't go through the speakers, but it has gone through enough tuning to earn itself a degree or a PhD in sound engineering. It doesn't sound like a Falterbach synth pop. This is Led Zepp unplugged. Aston claims a 0 to 100 time of 3.5 seconds, a top speed in excess of 325 kilometers an hour. But more importantly, the way this thing feels on the move is as old school as it gets. It is unapologetically rear-wheel driven with an electronically controlled LSD and stability systems that act more like passive-aggressive suggestions than outright nannies. And you get plenty of feedback through your fingertips, through your steering, through your backside, even through a bit of fear. Mid-corner bumps or imperfections in general, they are unfiltered, they are broadcast, nice and loud. This is a sports car after all. The chassis is 30% stiffer now, the adaptive dampers are quicker to react, and there is a new E-Pass setup that somehow hasn't killed the steering wheel. On a good road, it eggs you to push harder. On a bad road, it warns you politely before it tries to kill you. This is twitchy in a good way. And yet, it's oddly civilized. The adaptive suspension, it breathes well over India's lunar terrain, lunar surfaces. Of course, it won't glide over everything. It's still a sports car, especially with those low-profile Michelins. But it'll get by pretty well even in Indian conditions, as long as you're not trying to be an idiot. Inside, Aston Martin has traded the Mercedes-Benz hand-me-down infotainment system and installed its own system now. It's slicker, faster, and actually touchscreen. The 10.25-inch display and the 10.25-inch digital cluster don't feel like an afterthought anymore. The cabin is wrapped in tan leather with contrast stitching, with carbon inlays and satin dark chrome detailing. It's elegant without trying too hard, like it's confident you already know you are in something expensive. You sit nice and low, the driving position is near perfect, and these seats, they hold you in place like a firm handshake. Visibility, forget it. There are, of course, cameras, there's the 360-degree system, there's the radars and everything, so that you can back out of a Bandra cafe without taking a scooter hostage. You need those aids for sure in our driving conditions. But let's face it, you don't buy this car to see out of. You buy this car to be seen in. Now let's address the India bit. It costs a whopping 4.5 crore ex-showroom, and you're at the mercy of the pound exchange rate because this is imported from the UK. That's quite a bit of money. That's way beyond the standard 911 territory. That's 911 Turbo, 911 GT3 kind of territory. But here's the thing, it isn't trying to be a 911. The Porsche is the ultimate tool. The Vantage is the leather suit with a hidden hip flask. And you don't buy an Aston Martin to explain your choices to people. You buy an Aston Martin because you want something rare, you want something beautiful, you want something that turns heads wherever it goes. It'll even make the valet stand up a little straighter every time you roll in. That's the point of this car. In a world where sports cars are either going hybrid or are so overloaded with sensors they might as well drive themselves, the Vantage V8 is refreshingly old school. From its analog switches to the raw sound and feel. And that is what I continue to love about the Vantage. It's fast, it has its few shortcomings, but it feels alive. And in the end, isn't that the point?